The day Asher sent me to that sadist, I neither cried nor made a scene. When he came to pick me up the next day, what he got was a cold corpse. He went crazy, crying and laughing. He tossed around for a long time. Finally, having fulfilled what I'd said, he gently put my body into the car and drove straight into the sea with me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to 10 years ago. He had nothing, looked down and out, and only looked at me with those extremely eager eyes. I was cold and aloof, turned around, and walked past him. I didn't look at him again. Just like in my previous life. With just a quick glance, I knew that this young man in front of me would surely become extremely wealthy in the future. But this time, I didn't plan to have anything to do with him anymore. "Vivian!" he shouted eagerly. The voice seemed to have traveled across a century. I stopped in my tracks, and my body suddenly froze there. Assistant Zhao beside me shouted, "How dare you call our president Vivian by her name casually? Get out of here quickly." He seemed not to hear, stubbornly standing there, staring at me without blinking. Whether before or now, there is an insurmountable gap between us. In my previous life, in order to narrow the distance between us, he desperately trampled on me. But my unyielding spirit could never be bent. Eventually, having fulfilled my obsession, I was broken. "Ms. President Vivian, please give me a chance. I will make Luhua even more prosperous in the future." He said the same words again, word by word, but I didn't turn around. Even though I knew that he had lofty ambitions, a deep heart, and was not short of decisive means, I also knew that what he said was true. After he took over Luhua, it was renamed Asher, and it indeed became more powerful than before. I knew even more that he had recited this address 100 times beside my dead body. Just like now, hearing it only made me feel sick. This meant that he, too, had been reborn. Unnecessary. "Luhua isn't suitable for you." I didn't look at him again and walked straight away. But I could clearly feel that burning gaze from behind, like a prickling thorn on my back. The humiliating memories of my previous life came flooding back. I desperately suppressed my trembling body, straightened my back, and walked further and further away. When I returned to my office, I was shocked to find that my back was already covered in a cold sweat. I was certain that Asher had been reborn as well. Would he, like in the previous life, bring down Luhua and then humiliate me? I wasn't sure. But this time, I would never give him the chance. Asher's parents' company unfortunately lost out in the industry competition. His father couldn't bear it and committed suicide. His mother was so heartbroken that she passed away early. Asher became an orphan at a young age. He attributed all the faults to Luhua and was determined to bring it down by any means. So after dropping out of school, he took the initiative to come to Luhua to work in sales. Starting from the bottom. Later, he single and action increased the performance to 70 of the company's total, becoming my father's most capable assistant. Then he joined forces with outsiders to bring down the Luhua group and became Luhua's biggest creditor. My father was so angry that he had a myocardial infarction and was paralyzed in the hospital. And I could only be forced to pay off the debt. Normal industry competition is inevitable, and Luhua was not at fault. If he had squeezed out Luhua through legitimate means, I might have thought highly of him. But he framed us with despicable means, which was absolutely unforgivable. In this life, I must stay far away from Asher. That mad dog. Asher was reborn. With his ability, whether he was in Luhua or not, he would eventually reach a high position. And even faster than in the previous life. He wouldn't let me go easily. I went to find Cedric, the man my father had once pointed out as a potential marriage partner. At that time, I strongly opposed family-arranged marriages, believing that true love should be with someone who was compatible with me. So I had always been indifferent to Cedric. Later, he became Asher's sworn enemy, saved me from dangers several times, and even humbly begged to take me away. At that time, I already felt that I was unworthy of him and pushed him away harshly. Now, looking at the slightly immature but handsome face in front of me, I couldn't help but sigh. Why didn't I understand the admiration in his eyes back then? But instead liked Asher. That crazy guy? But Asher probably never knew that I had liked him until he died. When he unmercifully trampled on me, pushed me into the mud, thinking that only in this way could he completely control me. That hidden love disappeared. Unlike Asher's resolutens, Cedric has a more feminine appearance. His slightly upturned peach blossom eyes make him look amorous. Later I learned that he was a very affectionate person. The butler said you were looking for me? He seemed to have run over. His breathing slightly hurried. But he pretended to be calm in front of me. His head was slightly lowered, and his peach blossom eyes with reddish corners held an unconscious charm. I stared at him for a long time. Until he turned a little uneasily. I slowly said, I heard from Cedric's father that you play the piano very well. Can I learn from you? Cedric's father and my father were close friends. So the two families had arranged a marriage long ago. But I was quite resistant to this arranged marriage and had always refused. In my previous life, I hardly ever went to Cedric's house. He must be very curious about my arrival. Cedric learned the piano abroad. At this time, he had just returned from studying abroad and was preparing to take over the family business. And I, feeling sorry for my father's hard work alone, started managing the company early. A smile bloomed on his face. Swaying and charming. Of course. That's great. I came to him clean. And he still liked me. In the piano room of Cedric's family villa, melodious music played for an afternoon. I saw a magpie stay on the windowsill for a long time. We talked about everything from the sky to the sea, from literature to politics. Although we had just met, we seemed to have known each other for years. I suddenly had the idea of getting married. Maybe it would be a good choice to marry him early. Dad would be very happy to hear that. He always seized every opportunity to tell me how good Cedric was. This would fulfill his wish. Wouldn't it? As for Cedric's opinion, looking at his still slightly blushing face, his voice was so gentle, as if speaking a little louder would scare me. He should be willing, too. We should join hands early to confront the storms that might come in the future. I couldn't wait to go back and discuss this with my father. So I declined Cedric's invitation to stay for dinner. In his somewhat melancholy gaze, I walked towards the gate. After taking 2 steps, I turned around, ran to his side, quickly kissed him on the face, and rushed out before he could react. Oh my God, I'm so bold. When I got to the door, my face was still burning. I got out of the car, covering my hot cheeks, thinking about how to explain to my dad later that I suddenly liked Cedric and wanted to marry him right away. Vivian. That nightmare-like voice sounded again. The person suddenly walked out from the shadows at the door. In the dark night, those captivating eyes stared straight at me. You're back too, aren't you? I had imagined many times what it would be like to see Asher again. Would I rush up and strangle him? Curse him out? Or question him why he treated me like that? However, when I faced him again, when there were only the two of us, I felt more like pitying him. The answer was obvious. He had a despicable mentality. He had been someone else's lackey and didn't want to treat others as human beings. I had nothing more to say to him. I calmed down, took a deep breath, raised my chin, and looked directly at the person in front of me. Are you the one who came for the interview today? Sorry. You've been eliminated. It's useless to come here now. If I were you, I'd try somewhere else instead of pestering me and wasting your time. Vivian. It's not appropriate for you to call me by my name like this. Offering oneself to someone's bed is also disgusting. You're good-looking only because of your face. You're good for nothing else. I advise you to give up this idea and leave before I call someone. He didn't say anything more and took a few steps closer to me. Those eyes seemed as if they could devour people. There was self-blame, pain, regret, helplessness, expectation. But no relief or giving up. I didn't back down and met his gaze directly. What? Do you still want to force a deal? I've said I'm not interested in you. Vivian. He tightly grasped my arms with both hands and said eagerly, I'll stand at the highest place and be with you on equal footing. Wait for me. Okay? His touch made me feel physically uncomfortable. Before I could shake him off, a pair of big hands directly pulled me into his arms. Who are you? How dare you touch my woman? The reassuring woody fragrance made my tense mood suddenly relax. Looking up, it was Cedric's smoothly lined chin. Those amorous eyes were now filled with frost. The only one who can be with her on equal footing is me. Who the hell are you? Asher narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice. Let her go. I hugged Cedric's waist and said coldly to Asher. You're the one who should leave. He's my fiancé. What right do you have to shout? Asher's body swayed. And he said in disbelief. You. When did you two get together? Impossible. You can't like him. I straightened up and sneered. We're well matched. Why can't we be together? Who do you think you are? A person who can't even support himself. What right do you have to question others? He took 2 steps back, his eyes blood red, shaking his head in disbelief. No. It can't be. And he murmured to himself. Was it because I came too late? Cedric looked down and asked me with his eyes. Who is this lunatic? Just a madman. I asked him. Why did you come? His face turned slightly red. I originally wanted to see you off, but by the time I realized it, you had already left. I was worried, so I chased after you. By the time he realized it. This reaction time is really long. I smiled. Wasn't I the same? My face was still burning when I got out of the car. Asher watched us chatting and laughing as if no one else was around. Finally, Hediza filled my. He couldn't help it and rushed toward Cedric. I told you to let her go. The veins on his neck stood out, and his tightly clenched fist trembled slightly. Cedric pushed me away and faced the furious Asher. The two of them started fighting. I didn't expect Asher to be so crazy. He was roaring. His face red. Like a wounded wild animal. Mercilessly punching toward Cedric. And Cedric handled every move with ease. His strikes were fast, ruthless, and accurate. Asher didn't get any advantage. I quickly called the butler and several strong servants in the house to pull Asher away, and called the police. He was being held down and kept shouting. Vivian! Vivian! You can't be with him. You're mine. The butler and the others looked at each other in dismay. Where did this madman come from? He kept saying that the young lady was his. Who did he think he was? I walked up to Cedric, touched his swollen face. I'm sorry. And thank you. He grabbed my hand, and those affectionate eyes sparkled. Don't say these 2 words again in the future. I don't want to hear them. Then. I paused and said. Your face is swollen. I feel heartbroken. Concerned about his swollen face. Remembering in my past life. He said to me. Who is covered in wounds. Come with me. Okay? My heart hurt so much. I pushed him away forcefully. Cedric. Aren't you despicable? I did this of my own accord. Why do you need to feel sorry for me? Get out of my sight. He buried his head in the crook of my neck and something wet seeped through. Almost pleading. My heart really hurts so much that I can't even breathe. Don't be like this. Okay? I raised my head, forcing the tears back into my eyes. I was already in hell and didn't want to drag you in. Leave quickly. Okay? I know he treats you badly. Leave him. Of course he treated me badly. He secretly imprisoned and my paralyzed father. Whenever he was slightly displeased, he would send those creditors to torture my father one by one and even record videos for me to watch. Enjoying my breakdown with great interest. He couldn't stand my haughty look and made me go to accompany people to drink. At the dinner table. He let those beasts molest me. Just to make me beg him. When I got back, he would torture me severely out of anger. There were many wounds on my body. Burns. Whip marks. Stab wounds. Bite marks. He said, Vivian, will not, as long as you beg me and promise to be my dog for life, I'll let you go. I never bowed my head to him. Every time, he would growl angrily. Don't look at me with that kind of eyes. Sometimes he would also plead with me. Please, heading fulfilled my sorry. Don't look at me like that. Why do you look down on me no matter what I do? Clearly, I'm your master. He tortured me and also drove himself to the brink of collapse, having already turned into a madman. But I could only say to Cedric, he treats me very well. This is just our little game. Do you understand? You're just a despicable third party. I don't want to see you again. That madman would do something to you. I'm going to fight him to the death. The hand that was holding mine suddenly tight and unloosened. His upward curving peach blossom eyes drooped. You. Blow on it for me. I was suddenly stunned, and my face turned red. Over there. Asher started shouting again. Vivian. You can't like him. Vivian. Don't like him? Should I like you? A pervert? I was annoyed by his shouting and asked the butler to take him to the police station. Before leaving, he was still shouting angrily. Cedric. Stay away from her. I won't let you off. How ridiculous. What right did he have to say such things? He was just a rabid dog biting randomly. Cedric looked at his departing back. His expression thoughtful. He actually knows me? He's just a madman. You must stay away from him if you see him in the future. He put away his tenderness and said firmly. No. He'll hurt you. I'll keep an eye on him. Although I'm a strong woman. Although I don't want to involve him. At this moment, my heart still skipped a beat. I impulsively wanted to tie myself to him, seeking a harbor where I could rest. You go home first. I'll watch you leave. He looked at me quietly. My heart suddenly felt empty. I said, come to my house. I'll put some medicine on your wounds. He smiled, and his affectionate eyes curved into crescents. No. Vivian. Your dad will worry if he sees me. Oh right. I can't let Dad worry anymore. I turned around and walked back reluctantly. Vivian. I turned my head. He pointed to the other side of his blushing cheek. You only kissed this side just now. The relationship between the two families reached a new level because of us. Dad couldn't bear to let me get married so early and asked us to date first. This old man used to wish that something would happen between me and Cedric. Now that I'm about to get married, he's reluctant. Both of us have become the main persons in charge of the company, and we were extremely busy every day. But no matter how late it is, Cedric will come downstairs to date me every day. Life is fulfilling and sweet. However, the existence of Asher is always a thorn in my heart. To prevent a recurrence of the previous incident, Cedric specially assigned several bodyguards to me. But I haven't seen Asher since that day. He was sent to the police station that day and detained for a few days. After he came out, he became much more obedient. I heard from Cedric that he joined our rival company. Zihuan. Zihuan. An old acquaintance of his. I have to develop and expand the company quickly so that no one can shake it in the future. After a tiring day, every time I lean into Cedric's arms, all my worries and troubles disappear. Sometimes, I can even fall asleep comfortably. After I fall asleep, Cedric will openly carry me inside. That nosy old man pretends not to see it. The next day, he will pout and seriously lecture me. Young people should know how to be moderate. He retired early, leaving the two of us juniors to work hard. Every day, he either plays chess or golf with Cedric's dad and occasionally asks about the company's affairs. His life is really carefree. His chubby, rosy face is in sharp contrast to his emaciated appearance when he was paralyzed in bed in his past life. It's so good. Everything is okay. I saw Asher again at a charity auction. He had regained his superior demeanor. With his means, it was only a matter of time before he climbed up. I just didn't expect it to be so soon. Beside him was Brianna, the eldest daughter of Zihuan. He managed to win over this woman at the fastest speed. Brianna has an extremely strong possessiveness towards Asher. His rapid rise to a high position is inseparable from the support of this eldest daughter of Zihuan. Asher has always known how to obtain greater benefits at the least cost. I walked into the venue, arm in arm with Cedric, and saw Asher walking towards us head-on. A fake smile hung on his face. His sharp eye swept over the place where our hands were held. And his tone was indifferent. Do Lu Hua and Cheng Yu also come to do charity? Do enterprises like yours care about the sufferings of the world? Cedric raised his delicate eyebrows and retorted unceremoniously. Charity isn't something that only you hypocritical saints can do. When we do it, we usually keep a low profile. Unlike you, who only do superficial things and can't wait for the whole world to know. This guy really lives up to his reputation of taking over Cheng Yu so quickly. His skills at evading and dealing with things are first rate. He's already become a shrewd person. I glanced at Brianna beside Asher. The wariness and scrutiny in her eyes were so obvious. Logically speaking, in this life, I haven't had any interaction with her. And I've been keeping a distance from that madman. Where does the hostility in her eyes come from? Brianna's eyes met mine briefly, and then she looked at Cedric beside me. Her unruly mouth almost curled up to the sky. To companies that can't make it to the big stage. Yet you dare to compare with Si-Huan. I advise you to broaden your horizons. Lest you make a fool of yourselves. Cedric smiled and didn't pay attention to her. Talking to such an arrogant woman is just lowering one's own status. No wonder Si-Huan's boss has no successor. With such a daughter as Brianna, Asher has taken control of the company early. Brianna is a typical airhead. Always being played around by Asher. However, her nature is extremely vicious. Once, she couldn't stand me staying by Asher's side and insulted me with the most vicious words. One time, Asher asked me to pour water for her. When she took it, she accidentally spilled it on her clothes. She flew into a rage on the spot, raised her 10-centimeter high stiletto heels, and kicked me hard in the abdomen. Brianna used all her strength, and the sharp pain almost made me faint. Asher was lazily sitting on the leather chair. His tone contemptuous. Hurry up and get up to apologize to Brianna. That pain accompanied me for several months. Even now, my abdomen still feels a bit uncomfortable when I think about it. Not wanting to see these two people, I pulled Cedric and walked into the venue. There was a porcelain from the Ming Dynasty in today's auction items. A blue and white water pattern bowl. I wanted to bid for it as a birthday gift for my dad. I looked at the list. It was ranked later. The celebrities were exchanging simple greetings. Waiting for the auction to start, I felt that there was a gaze following me closely all the time. I didn't need to look to know that it was Asher. That gaze was cold and sticky. Like a viper that had been lurking for a long time. There was also a gaze full of extreme hatred, with a blazing flame, as if it wanted to burn me to ashes. I frowned. Cedric lowered his head and asked me, "Are you feeling unwell?" I shook my head, whispered a few words to him, and then turned to go to the restroom. I really did feel unwell. Asher and Brianna were the two people I least wanted to see. And yet, they just stared at me relentlessly. A delicate woman was reflected in the mirror. Radiant and full of vitality. It was the most proud moment of my life. No one knew how much I cherished this hard-won life. For the people I cared about, I would become stronger. Suddenly, another woman with a coquettish appearance appeared in the mirror. She folded her arms, looking me up and down with a scrutinizing gaze. Her posture haughty. "What's your relationship with Asher?" I ignored her and casually took out a tissue from the wall to carefully wipe my hands. Brianna furrowed her carefully drawn brows impatiently. "I'm asking you a question. Are you mute?" I turned around and sneered. "Should I answer just because you ask? Why don't you ask your man about his affairs instead of coming to ask me?" Brianna's heaving chest rose and fell slightly. "You're Vivian from Luhua, right? You already have a fiancé, yet you're still flirting with Asher. Is this the upbringing of your young lady? I think you're worse than a streetwalker. You pretend to be so pure on the surface, but you're so slutty inside. Does the young master of Chengyu know about this?" I picked up my bag by the sink. Gave her a meaningful look. When a dog barks at you frantically, the wisest thing to do is to stay away from it, rather than acknowledging its brainless behavior and arguing with it. When I walked out of the restroom, Brianna was still gnashing her teeth there. When she realized what I meant, she chased after me in a hurry, shouting angrily, heading full tilt land. "Who are you calling a dog?" I distanced myself from her. "If you block my way again, I'll call the security guard." "Vivian, you're flirting with my man and you still have the nerve? Fine. Call everyone over and let them judge who's shameless. Which eye of yours saw me flirting with your man? This is really unreasonable. Does she have a hobby of creating imaginary enemies?" Brianna snorted, and her distorted facial expression made her makeup look very unnatural. "Still not admitting it? Asher's phone is full of your photos. At first, I thought he downloaded them from the internet. I didn't expect there was a real person like you. I never thought that the eldest daughter of Lu Hua would be such a despicable who specializes in seducing other men. I bah. She said Asher's phone was full of my photos. The blood in my body seemed to freeze. That madman still wasn't going to let me go. I was sure I hadn't seen him. So it must be that he hired someone like a private detective to follow me and secretly take pictures when I wasn't paying attention. Suddenly, cut out a low sigh. A chill ran down my spine. But the woman who was slinging mud at me right now was also extremely revolting. Aren't you, Brianna, just a stupid woman who chases after men? With such a high net worth. You still can't hold on to a man's heart. You're just a waste. What did you say? She could no longer hold her temper. I guess she had always been spoiled as a young lady, and no one had ever made her face the truth like this. TSK. I haven't even said much, and you're already flying off the handle. Your ignorance and shallowness mean that no man will ever take you seriously. If it weren't for Zihuan as your protective shield, you'd be nothing but trash. The kind that doesn't even need to be sorted. I'll tear you apart. She rushed towards me, trying to slap me. I sidestepped to avoid it, but her long fingernails still scratched my neck. Instantly, I felt a burning pain. I guessed it was bleeding. Brianna wasn't satisfied and shrieked as she scratched at me again. I quickly grabbed her hand. The two of us started scuffling. Brianna was so enraged by me that with her fierce temper, she was determined to disfigure me. Suddenly, cutting forcefully, I felt the pressure on me lighten. Brianna was yanked up. With a slap, she was unexpectedly slapped across the face. The air seemed to freeze for a few seconds. I looked at the man in front of me, confused. Asher stared blankly at me and said, "Vivian, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I won't let her hurt you again." He was really ruthless. He was even willing to hit his own mistress so hard. Next to him, Brianna was stunned for a moment. Then, let out a low sigh. She came to her senses and shrieked sharply. "Asher, you actually hit me for her? You two really do have something going on. I won't let my dad let you off. I'll send this bitch to hell." I took out a makeup mirror from my bag and took a look. There was a long fingerprint on my neck, and blood was already seeping out. Whether in my past life or this life, Brianna always used all her strength when dealing with me. Just as Asher was about to approach me, Cedric crushed over. Vivian. When he saw the scratch on my neck, he understood everything. His peach blossom eyes stared dangerously at the couple in front of him. "Vivian, I'll take you to get disinfected first. I'll settle this score for you later." I grabbed him. "No need." Then I gave Brianna a contemptuous look. "What I need is to get a rabies vaccine. I'll avenge myself." Brianna's face turned darker and darker, and she started shouting again. "Cedric, do you know this woman is cuckolding you? She's not satisfied with having you and secretly flirts with Asher. Do you still treat such a woman like a treasure? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by people in your company?" Cedric glanced at Asher and said with a faint smile, "I think it should be Asher who will be laughed at. After all, having a girlfriend like you is also a disgrace to him." Asher seemed oblivious, staring at me without blinking. I slowly walked towards him. His breathing suddenly became rapid. His face was flushed with an inexplicable look of anticipation. "Vivian." My neck was burning with pain. I walked up to him with a smile. Suddenly, having fulfilled my obsession, I raised my hand and slapped Brianna across the face. I used all my strength. She was sent staggering back a few steps. "Whoa." I felt much better. "You scratched my neck. And I slapped you. It's fair." Then I turned around, shook my sore hand, and went back to Cedric's side. Cedric lifted my hand and gently blew on it. "Does it hurt? Next time, don't use your hand directly. It would be better to pick up something." I nodded slightly. And then we left hand in hand. Behind us, Asher held the crazed Brianna, looking at me with deep, meaningful eyes. The auction started. As one item after another was successfully auctioned. Finally, having fulfilled my desire, it was the turn of the Ming Dynasty blue and white water pattern bowl that my father liked. The host announced to the crowd, "A blue and white water pattern bowl from the Wanli period of the Ming Dynasty. The starting price is 600,000. The guests bid step by step. When the price reached 1,500,000, the venue fell silent. I bid. 1,600,000. The host said. 1,600,000 and once. 1,600,000 and twice. Someone in the corner raised a sign again. Oh. That gentleman bids 2 million. Is there anyone else bidding? I turned to look. Asher was sitting there expressionlessly. And Brianna was looking at me provocatively. I raised my sign again. 2,200,000. That gentleman bids 2,500,000. It seemed he was determined to compete with me to the end. Cedric was about to raise his sign. But I stopped him. Vivian. This is for Vivian's father. He can't outbid us. If we really had to compete, we might not necessarily lose to Asher. But this bull had already far exceeded its value. I didn't want to do this meaningless thing anymore. Cedric took my hand. His face full of doting. If you don't want to, I can also buy it for Vivian's father through other channels. Competing head-on with Asher, that madman, was obviously not a wise move. It was his business if he wanted to spend more money. We gave up. However, Cedric still raised his sign a few more times, making Asher buy it at a high price of 4 million. In the end, Cedric spread his hands, shrugged his shoulders, and put on an innocent look. I couldn't help but laugh. When we walked out of the auction hall, we ran into Asher and Brianna again at the door. Brianna flaunted at me haughtily. Vivian, not everything goes your way. Even if you combine Lu Hua and Cheng Yu, you're still no match for Zihuan. As soon as she finished speaking, Asher walked up to me, holding the blue and white water pattern bowl he had just bought. Zihuan intends to submit to Lu Hua and wants to reach a long-term strategic cooperation intention with you. This is my gift to Vivian's father. What do you think? The sneer on Brianna's face froze, making her look extremely ridiculous. Asher, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Why should Zihuan submit to Lu Hua? Asher looked at me intently. Just like when he first came to my side in my previous life. He often brought me interesting things to please me. He was involved in every aspect of my life. He was diligent at work and meticulous in life. Whenever I was a little tired from work, he would take over everything, running up and down and handling everything in an orderly manner. As soon as I coughed, within half an hour, cold medicine would appear on my desk. Once I casually said, I want to eat fish. And various kinds of grilled fish would be delivered to my office that day. When I had a bad complexion during my period, he would immediately prepare brown sugar water and hand it to me. When climbing a mountain with him, he could carry me all the way to the top of the mountain without showing any sign of fatigue. Still smiling. He took care of all things, big and small, without ever complaining. He said, I like doing these things. I'm willing to do them and enjoy them. Who wouldn't be moved after being with such a person for a long time? I thought he was an angel sent by heaven. Unfortunately, heading stealthily, he was just a devil temporarily wearing an angel's disguise. Once he got everything he wanted, he could no longer keep up the pretense. Not accepted. I replied coldly and turned to leave. He blocked my way. His eyes were filled with pleading. If you don't want to cooperate, you can still give this to Vivian's father. I know he likes this the most. It's my sincere gift. Cedric stood in front of me. She said no. Is the head of Zihuan really going to be so persistent? Brianna couldn't stand it either and came up to grab the auction item from Asher's hand. This thing is mine. Why should I give it to this bitch? Are you out of your mind? Asher gave her a cold look, and Brianna immediately shut up. It seemed he had completely taken control of Zihuan. He bypassed us and stuffed the item into my driver's hand. The driver looked at the 4 million worth auction item in his hand in astonishment. At a loss. Miss, adding fulfilled sigh. This? I walked over and raised my hand to knock the item out of the driver's hand. In an instant, the 4 million with Ming Dynasty porcelain shattered. Okay. Now there's no need to hesitate. Let's go. I got into the car without looking back. Behind me, there were the sounds of Brianna's angry shouts and curses, and the voice of the security guard calling the cleaning lady. Come on. Clean up these broken bowls. After the auction, both Cedric and I plunged into intense work. However, recently, many bad rumors have spread about Cheng Yu. First, there were quality problems with a newly developed project. Many property owners reported that the quality of their newly bought houses was seriously substandard. There were too many cracks in the walls. The floors leaked. And even the steel bars were visible. These complaints made it to the news. And the media started to report on it extensively. Those so-called property owners, with their simple-looking faces, performed hard in front of the screen, winning the sympathy of the general public. People one after another condemned Cheng Yu as a dishonest businessman. Some people said that these buildings were built without even laying the foundation. The original 1-year construction period was shortened to half a year. Wouldn't these houses collapse in an earthquake? Who could live in them with peace of mind? Can you guarantee that this place won't have an earthquake in the next 70 years? If you think it's okay, you can buy it. Anyway, I wouldn't dare. Later, someone secretly filmed a video inside Cheng Yu's sales office. The salesperson treated customers differently, only accepting full payment customers. As soon as they heard about a loan, they ignored the customers. And the customers couldn't even get a glass of water. After the fermentation of public opinion, Cheng Yu was suddenly pushed to the forefront, becoming the target of criticism by netizens. For a while, customers who had bought Cheng Yu's properties rushed to return their houses. The sales office was crowded with people, and some even put up banners. Cheng Yu's stock price kept falling. And within a short time, several hundred million yuan of market value evaporated. Cheng Yu was facing the biggest public relations crisis in its history. Looking at these news, I was so angry that my hands were shaking. This must be Asher's doing. He had turned his target to Cedric. That madman had always been unscrupulous. Otherwise, he couldn't have climbed to this position in such a short time. I still ended up implicating Cedric. I'm sorry. I buried my face in his palm. Anyway, heading for Ftel Brand Sec. Luvu will advance and retreat with you. Cedric stroked my hair, looking calm. I've said that you're not allowed to say this word again in the future. Don't worry. Cheng Yu won't fall so easily. At the same time, Zihuan is thriving. They bought the most valuable piece of land in the city at a price of 2 billion. Zihuan's real estate projects are sold at a 20% discount across the board, attracting customers with low prices. As soon as a building in their projects is launched, it is sold out quickly, snapped up by people. From time to time, I see Asher's fake amiable smile on TV. He has become the most popular young man in the city. Young and promising. And incredibly handsome. He has obviously become the one man that countless girls dream of marrying. No one knows how ugly his heart is beneath that hypocritical appearance. I have carefully sorted out what he has done during this period. Forced demolition. Accidentally killing property owners. And forcing the families of the property owners to admit it was a suicide. Raising private equity funds among the people. Sucking in a large amount of money in a short time to invest in his sideline businesses. Dealing in cultural relics. Money laundering. Drug trafficking. Black market trading. Each of these is enough to put him in prison for more than 10 years. These were the things he did in his past life. Since he has climbed up so fast in this life, he surely hasn't done less. So I've always had people keeping an eye on him. Although the evidence hasn't been fully collected yet, but as long as I hand over the materials in my hand, it will definitely cause him a lot of trouble. When I came out of Cedric's house and was about to get in the car, I suddenly saw Asher, who hadn't shown up for a long time. Vivian, I'd like to invite you for a cup of tea. Is that okay? He asked me cautiously. You can bring your bodyguards. I won't do anything to you. I turned my head and was about to get in the car. Don't you want to know how I'll deal with Cedric? This is just the beginning. If you want me to stop, all you need to do is have a cup of tea. I stopped in my tracks. He coaxed me. It's just the tea house across the street. It won't take you much time. I have 4 bodyguards following me. And indeed he couldn't do anything to me. Since it concerned Cedric, I was curious to see what he was up to. The tea house was very elegant. A 2-story building. I usually didn't notice. And I didn't know when such an elegant place had opened near my home. Asher always kept a certain distance from me. Of course, the bodyguards around me wouldn't allow him to get close to me either. As soon as we entered the tea house, a middle-aged man who looked gentle and refined came over to greet us. President Asher. I've been waiting for you for a long time. I stiffened suddenly. This man is a beast in human skin. Saying he's a beast is even flattering him. In essence, he's just a despicable scoundrel. Asher greeted him infuriately. Lester. I forgot to tell you. The gift I prepared for you is upstairs. You can go ahead first. As he spoke, his eyes never left me. I was all tensed up, my teeth even chattering. I tried my best to hold back, not letting him see anything unusual. Lester leered at me, his dull yellow eyes rolling around. He joked with Asher. You're really lucky. She's a real beauty. Asher patted him on the shoulder. Lester. If you don't go up, they'll be getting impatient. Right. I'm going now. He passed by me, laughing loudly. The wind he brought made me feel extremely nauseous. I really couldn't hold it in and leaned on the table, retching. Asher wanted to get closer to me, but I stopped him sharply. Don't touch me. His eyes were moist, as if there were thousands of words to say. Vivian. It really is you. Have you come back too? I took a deep breath to calm myself down and suddenly understood the purpose of Asher inviting me to tea. To figure out if I was reborn. He brought that sadist from the previous life to test my reaction. Asher. You really make me sick. He stretched out his hands and explained anxiously. I had no choice. You avoid me like the plague. I don't understand. Clearly. We were so good in the previous life. Why has everything changed? You clearly don't like that Cedric. Yet you hurt me again and again for him. I wasn't sure if you were reborn too. I know you hate me. But I haven't hurt you in this life. I already know I was wrong. Let's start over. Okay? I won't hurt you at all anymore. Won't hurt me anymore? I sneered. Asher. You saw my dead body. You clearly knew how he treated me. Yet you still colluded with him. And you brought him here to test me. Do you think you deserve my forgiveness? He suddenly knelt down, his expression mournful. Vivian let out a low sigh. I had no way out. I wanted to climb up quickly to be worthy of you. I could only use them as stepping stones. I've been trying hard to make myself worthy of you. Now I've done it. You can rest assured. I won't let anyone who hurt you go. No matter what I become. I'll always be your dog. I'll treat you well like before. Okay? There was no one in the tea house. No one saw this embarrassing side of Asher, the head of Zihuan, who was so popular in the entire provincial capital. It seems he had prepared for this long ago. I took a deep breath, straightened my back, and looked down at him. Leave Changyu alone and turn yourself into the police. Confess all your crimes. If you can still get out, I'll think highly of you. The air was quiet. From upstairs, the screams and cries of women could be heard from time to time. Although there was sound insulation in this quiet tea house, it could still be heard clearly. Asher slowly stood up, the mournful expression disappearing, replaced by a look of determination. Vivian. It's impossible. Then we'll never be together. And there's nothing more to say. Take care of yourself. I turned around and walked out. I couldn't stay here for a single moment longer. He suddenly hugged me from behind. His head pressed against the top of my head, murmuring, Vivian. I won't let you go. Never. The bodyguards rushed forward and pulled him away in a few moves. I turned around and slapped him hard. I felt extremely uncomfortable all over and wanted to go back and take a bath immediately. With my signal, the bodyguards gave Asher a good treatment. He hugged his head and shouted desperately, Vivian. Don't leave me. I quickened my pace and left this suffocating place. Changyu is being targeted. But on the contrary, Cedric is extremely calm. I even admire his self-control. I submitted Asher's criminal evidence, and the relevant department has started an investigation. However, because Zihuan has a relatively large influence, the investigation is being carried out secretly. Until one day, a big news suddenly broke out online. For the piece of land that Zihuan bought at a huge cost, there were other plans around it, requiring that the building height should not exceed 7 floors. But their original budget when they bought it was to build a 30-story building. If they can only build 7 floors, they will lose all their capital. Originally, having fulfilled my desire. Everyone was very optimistic and invested money in it one after another. Now, fearing that they won't get their money back, they all rushed to ask for their debts. Zihuan's capital chain broke all of a sudden. And the real estate projects invested by Zihuan were suspended due to the economic crisis. And the delivery time is far away. The property owners have demanded to return their houses. And banners have been put up at the entrance of the sales department. Truly, the wheel of fortune turns. As for Asher himself, because he is suspected of various criminal facts, he has been required not to leave the city and to cooperate with the investigation. The news of Zihuan suddenly overshadowed the news of Chengyu and became the headline at various sections. Cedric was in a rare good mood and wanted to invite me to have barbecue. Of course I agreed. He took me to the recently popular Barbecue City. This place is full of the hustle and bustle of life. This is the true appearance of life. We chose the liveliest place, squeezed into the crowd, and experienced the hustle and bustle of the world. The voices around were loud and noisy. And we ate happily. Dip the small pancake in the sauce. Wrap it with the sizzling and fragrant skewers. And add some scallions for seasoning. The moment it enters the mouth, life feels complete. Vivian, try this purple rice cake. It's your favorite. Cedric was in charge of feeding me. And I just ate heartily. It felt like time was peaceful. To be honest, was that investment of Zihuan you're doing? Cedric blinked his innocent peach blossom eyes. I'm wronged. He raised his hand. I didn't do anything. I just asked them to delay releasing the news about the plan. I took a bite of the purple rice cake. Well, because of your delay, Asher lost more than $1 billion. He's an expert at playing dumb to catch the smart. Cedric handed me a small pancake and gently wiped the corner of my mouth with his slender fingers. Don't think I don't know that it was you who got Asher investigated. I was stunned. How do you know? He turned around proudly. I won't tell you. Me, then he turned back around, looking at me with bright eyes. Don't do such dangerous things in the future. Leave it all to me. I sighed. Don't forget, I'm the person in charge of Luhua. I'm not as weak as you think. In the future, leave Luhua to me. I'll help you manage it. You just need to hold your shares in peace. What about Chengyu? He glanced at me angrily. Chengyu is married to Luhua. Someone heartless has been reluctant to mention getting married. So let the companies combine first. This. I lowered my head guiltily. Isn't it because Dad can't bear to part with me? Cedric. The condensed milk in this purple rice cake is so fragrant. You try it. With Zihuan's downfall, it no longer poses a threat to Chengyu. Cedric started to hold a press conference to clarify some negative news about the company from some time ago. I also attended the press conference on behalf of Luhua, stating that Luhua is Chengyu's strongest backing, giving the general public a sense of reassurance. When I was touching up my makeup in the restroom, suddenly someone covered my mouth with a handkerchief from behind. I only had time to see that it was a woman before I became drowsy and lost consciousness. After a while, a cleaning aunt pushed a trash can out of the restroom. The assistant waiting outside just took a look and then looked away. She looked at the time on her phone and still stood there obediently waiting for me to come out. When I woke up, I felt extremely tired all over. It was pitch black all around. I then quickly realized clearly that I had been kidnapped. The first person I thought of was Asher. Has he become desperate? With a snap, the switch of the chandelier in the room was turned on. I squinted my eyes and gradually got used to the light. The person standing in front of me was actually Brianna, the eldest daughter of Zihuan. In just a short time, she no longer had the radiance she had at the auction. At this moment, she looked like a pale ghost. Her state reminded me of myself in the previous life. Empty, wooden, unwilling, and angry. Why? She seemed to be out of her mind. Why do they all hold you up like a pearl, but treat me like that? She seemed to be talking to me, but also seemed to be talking to herself. It seems that Brianna was the one who kidnapped me. I waited for the dizziness in my head to subside and then asked her. Why did you kidnap me? Don't you know this is illegal? Illegal? Who knows it was me who kidnapped you? Her eyes were almost popping out. I loved him so much. I gave him everything. But how did he treat me? In my bed. He was calling your name. Every day. He looks at your photos and videos like a fool. Do you know how I feel? There's no place for me in his eyes at all. Once. I secretly deleted everything about you on his phone. He got so furious that he beat me up horribly. Saying this, she looked up at me, her face full of anger. I just don't understand. What makes me inferior to you? You two clearly haven't had any contact. Why is he so obsessed with you? I could endure him beating me. But he actually gave me to those powerful and wealthy people to play with. I was tortured by them to the point that life was worse than death. I'm already ruined. I interrupted her. Why didn't you call the police? Brianna suddenly roared. What do you know? I love him. Anyway, I'll stay by his side as long as you're out of the picture. Her eyes were filled with a crazy look of destruction. And she suddenly burst into a hideous laugh. I'll make you taste the suffering I've endured. Let's see if he'll still be obsessed with you after you're used up by men. She's gone mad. Due to the effect of the drug. My hands and feet are weak at the moment. And I don't even have the strength to get up. I can only hope that Cedric and the others will notice my disappearance soon and come to find me quickly. Don't hold out any hope. This place is one of Zihuan's unfinished factories. No one will know. I'll also give you a big gift and I'll broadcast it to Asher Live so he can have a good look at how you enjoy it. My heart sank. This woman has been driven insane by Asher. She's capable of doing anything. Brianna dialed Asher's video call. His lazy and tired voice came from the other end. What's up? Vivian? Brianna? What on earth are you trying to do? You'll know in a moment. Brianna turned off the sound, completely cutting off Asher's shouting. There was a knock on the door. She went to open it with a malicious smile. Standing outside the door was Lester. This woman. She really deserves to die. I looked around to see if there was anything I could use as a weapon. Over there. Lester was looking at me with a lecherous smile and closed the door behind him. And Brianna was just standing there, holding her phone. Lester rolled his cloudy eyes and asked her with a sinister look. What do you want to join to? Brianna smiled playfully. I'll record a video for you. It can add some spice. Lester immediately became interested. Not bad. I'll put on a mask first. By the way, are you sure she was brought here by Asher? Of course. She's caused Zihuan so much trouble. How could Asher let her go? Then I'm relieved. That guy will surely take care of the aftermath. Lester wriggled his disgusting body towards me. His mouth wide open and drool almost dripping. I moved backward. There was a protruding spike on the old iron bed. I pressed myself hard against it, letting the pain stimulate the potential of my body. Even if Cedric can't come in time, I'll bite a piece of his flesh off. The man and woman in front of me had ugly and greedy expressions on their faces. Lester picked up a prepared whip from the table and slowly approached me. Lester. I wasn't brought here by Asher. It's this woman. You'd better think it through. Asher won't let you go, and neither will Lu Hua and Cheng Yu. Lester paused and looked at Brianna. Don't listen to her. It's just the struggle of a cornered animal. What are you still hesitating for? Hurry up and do it. Lester. I continued. Cedric, the CEO of Cheng Yu, is my fiancé. Even if I die here today, he'll find out it was you. And you'll end up worse than me. Are you really sure you've thought this through? I had to stall for time until Cedric arrived. She's lying. Brianna somewhat regretted not gagging me earlier. No one knows she's here. Haven't you been lusting after her for a long time? This is your last chance. Don't be fooled by her. She put down her phone, snatched the whip from Lester's hand, and lashed at me fiercely. The pain on my body relieved the numbness, and I gritted my teeth secretly. Lester beside her was completely aroused. He grabbed the whip from Brianna's hand and started beating me. Brianna was laughing maniacally while holding the phone. Two perverts. I pretended to be dodging their blows and then grabbed a bamboo skewer from the table and stabbed it hard towards Lester's eyes. Because my body wasn't agile enough, he dodged it in time. Lester was enraged. Just as he was about to rush at me, the door was suddenly kicked open. Asher, filled with coldness, his eyes blood red, stood there like the king of hell. Brianna ran over, trying to act coquettish with him. but he slapped her unconscious to the ground. Lester held the whip in his hand. And his expression became even more excited. President Asher. Do you want to join too? Great. Let's do it together. Asher walked towards him without saying a word. Picked up a rope from the table. And then unexpectedly strangled Lester's neck. Lester reacted and started struggling violently. His eyes bulging out like a dead fish. Vivian, Heavingan. I won't let anyone who has hurt you go. He exerted force with his hands. The veins on his forehead and neck popping out, and stared at me without blinking. Lester, due to his long-term indulgence and lust, was physically weak and was no match for Asher at all. His trembling body was his last struggle. I turned my head away. After a while, there was no movement over there. At this moment, thick smoke rose outside the door. Brianna had woken up at some point and set a fire outside. The strong smell of gasoline spread all around. She wanted to burn us all to death. Soon, without a low sigh, a big fire broke out, accompanied by Brianna's hysterical shouts. All of you die. You all deserve to die. Die for me. Asher tried to break the door several times but failed. Brianna had locked it from the outside. There was only a small window over 2 meters high behind us. And there was no way to escape. The fire had surrounded the whole room. The thick smoke made it hard for me to breathe. But my heart was surprisingly calm. In this life, I already have Cedric. And my father is also in good health. There's nothing to regret. After trying several times without success, Asher looked back at me. Vivian, I'm content that we can die together in this life. You may be content, but you're the only thing that disgusts me. Suddenly, he rushed towards me like crazy and hugged me tightly. A steel beam from the roof fell down, and we were pinned under it. The smell of burning flesh came from above. Asher's muscles were tense, and his expression was pained. He used all his strength to move the red-hot steel beam away. His back was burned to a bloody mess. But I was unharmed. I was too shocked to express myself in words. There's no doubt that Asher loves me. But his love is too selfish. He never considers my feelings. He's also a pitiful figure. His personality is too paranoid and self-centered. He's doomed to a bad end. The faint sound of police sirens came from outside. The whole room was on the verge of collapse. Another beam fell from above. Asher didn't dodge in time and was pinned down by his leg. Cedric's shouts came from outside the door. I wanted to answer, but my throat was choked by the thick smoke, and I could only cough violently. The door was suddenly broken open from the outside, and Cedric rushed in, wrapped in a wet cloth. Vivian, what? Let's go. The whole room was about to collapse. Asher suddenly grabbed my ankle. Don't go. Vivian. We should die together. I understood the look in his eyes. We should die together. And maybe we'll be reborn together. Cedric kicked him away, picked me up, and rushed out of the inferno. The moment we got out, the entire roof collapsed. Asher didn't have time to wait for the firefighters. Brianna was taken away in handcuffs, still shouting insanely as she walked. They're all dead. Dead. Beside the sea of fire. Cedric and I hugged each other tightly. Surviving this ordeal. We were extremely grateful. It's fortunate that you're still by my side for the rest of my life. The end.